Miami. Hey, Johnny. Okay. Okay, and then the two Congressmen? Yes. Okay.
Are the attorneys going to talk to you?
Yes.
Are they here?
Yeah. Okay. We gotta get started.
We're just gonna mention that he's here. If you can say now, thank you. Okay, ready.
Okay, so let's get started. ¿Qué hora? ¿Los minutos? Ok. Con que empieza tú, Pablo, y después, si no está aquí todavía, pues ya vamos con Johnny. Y después... Okay, so let's get started.
¿Para que te detectes? ¿Ah? ¿Mira el mapa? Si lo pones aquí, igual agarra. No, ready. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming and joining us one more time to defend TPS. My name is Jose Palma. I'm one of the coordinators for the National TPS Alliance. And with 350,000 members across the country, we believe and we are the largest TPS organization in the United States. Thank you for coming and joining us. Our work, you all know. National TPS Alliance was created to defend TPS and set the stage for conversations for permanent residents, which is what everyone deserves. Today, you will be hearing from some TPS recipients who are plaintiffs in the case of Honduras, Nicaragua, and Nepal. That's what we are here today. Can we give it up for them? And right now, very briefly, you will hear about from the legal team. And after they go inside, after the hearing, they will come back and give us a report about what happened inside. So, for that, I want to introduce the Executive Director of the Central American Resource Center in Los Angeles, Carecen LA. And I want everyone to welcome Marta Arevalo, who has been supporting the National TPS Alliance from the very beginning and continue until we get permanent residence for everyone with TPS. Let's welcome Marta Arevalo.
¡Que viva el TPS! ¡Viva! ¡Que viva Honduras, Nepal y Nicaragua! Eso. Thank you so much. As Jose mentioned, Marta Arevalo, I'm the Executive Director of the Central American Resource Center in Los Angeles. What do you recommend? Closer, farther? In Los Angeles. And we've been one of the anchor organizations for the National TPS Alliance. We're here today because we know that this administration wants chaos, wants terror, wants us to lose hope. But are we going to lose hope? No. We are resilient communities, immigrant communities, that are not going to lose hope and that are going to continue to fight until we win. Now, winning might look in different ways, but we know that one of the wins that we're going to work toward is permanent residency. But we're also going to fight for the dignity and respect of our communities. TPS holders are people, in many cases, that have been here for decades, contributing to the state, contributing to this country, in making this country great. California wouldn't be what it is without immigrant labor, immigrant workers. This nation wouldn't be without immigrant labor, immigrant workers, and immigrant families. So we're going to continue to fight for what our community deserves. And we're not going to let them win. We're not going to let them make me lose hope. They're not going to make TPS holders lose hope. It's the opposite. At this moment, we have to continue to fight harder, louder, and more. At this moment, we cannot definitely go and give up hope, give up the resiliency of our community, give up the value of our community. We're going to fight today in this courthouse, out here in this corner. We're going to fight in Congress. We're going to fight in the elections of 2026. We're going to fight in the elections of 2028. And we're going to continue to fight until our communities receive what they deserve. And lastly, I want to send a message to the Honduran, Nicaraguan, and Nepalese communities. We are here with you. We're here to support you, to walk along the road with you, along the path with you. We're going to support you with everything we have to make sure that you're treated with respect and dignity, and to make sure that we say TPS and we get permanent residency. We're not going to stop this fight. We're going to go all the way to the end. You are not alone. You are not alone. You have this whole community here that will continue to support Hondurans, Nepalese, and Nicaraguans, and so many other TPS communities. Unas palabras en español. Mi nombre es Marta Arevalo, soy la directora de CARES en Los Ángeles, y estamos aquí porque aunque esta administración quiere que perdamos la esperanza, no la vamos a perder. Vamos a luchar hasta la victoria. Y la victoria puede ser muchas victorias. Una de las victorias es conseguir la residencia permanente. Y no vamos a dejar a la comunidad nepalés, hondureña y nicaragüense sola. Siempre vamos a estar con ustedes. No se olviden que no están solos y que tienen organizaciones como CARES, Endilon y la Alianza TPS Nacional para pelear junto con ustedes. Nosotros somos ustedes. Y vamos a seguir apoyando este esfuerzo. Así que no perdamos la esperanza, sigamos la lucha, porque mucha gente está con ustedes. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Marta. And now we're going to hear from another executive director who has been accompanying the National TPS Alliance from the very beginning. Let's welcome Pablo Alvarado, the Executive Director of the National Day Laborer Organizing Network, NTPSA. Welcome, Pablo.
Buenos días o buenas tardes, ¿qué son? Ya perdí sentir el tiempo. Buenas tardes. Lo voy a hacer en español y luego en inglés. Quiero decirle a los compañeros, a los hermanos y hermanas de Nepal, que todos somos de Nepal. Ayer, hoy, mañana y para siempre. A los hermanos y hermanas de Honduras, todos somos hondureños. Ayer, hoy, mañana y para siempre. A los hermanos de Nicaragua, que somos nicaragüenses. Ayer, hoy y ¿qué? Mañana y para siempre. Entonces, como decía Marta, you're not alone. Vamos a hacer ese chant. No están solos. No están solos. Han sido días, meses muy difíciles en Los Ángeles. Yo vivo en Los Ángeles y también la comunidad de TPS de Los Ángeles sabe la situación que hemos estado atravesando. Han arrestado gente con TPS en el sur de California y afortunadamente han salido, los hemos podido, con el equipo legal han podido salir libres precisamente porque hay una litigación. Entonces han sido días muy difíciles, venimos aquí con el corazón destrozado porque están dividiendo muchas familias, están arrancando hijos, hijas, mamás, papás, abuelas, abuelos de los senos familiares. Desde ahí, ese es el sufrimiento a que nuestro pueblo está siendo sometido en estos momentos y no ha estado fácil. Pero si hay algo de lo que debemos de estar orgullosos, y eso va con nuestra consigna de que no están solos, es de que miles y miles y miles y miles de personas han salido a documentar, a ser testigos de la crueldad que este gobierno está cometiendo contra la comunidad migrante. No nada más con la comunidad que no tiene papeles, también con los que tienen papeles. Y por esa documentación que la gente ha hecho, gente de todos los caminos de la vida, gente que nunca había salido a protestar, ahora están saliendo cada vez que ven la presencia de esas personas, esos hombres enmascarados, con armas de asalto, con vehículos blindados. Son personas que nunca, no han sido activistas pues, ni organizadoras, y salen, pero saben cómo usar su teléfono y saben cómo hacerlo de una manera sin interferir con lo que los agentes o los cazarrecompensas están haciendo. Y eso es lo que está cambiando la opinión pública sobre lo que los inmigrantes representamos en este país. Y es hermoso ver a esa gente poniendo su cuerpo en la línea. Y eso, por eso es que yo siento que no estamos solos, a pesar de este sufrimiento. Quiero compartir un poco de dónde viene el TPS, para los que no saben. El TPS fue un puñado, y digo un puñado porque no fueron muchos, ¿verdad, Marta? Un puñado de gente, de salvadoreños y salvadoreñas, que llegaron al finales de los 80s, a principios de los 90s, y fueron y le dijeron a los políticos: venimos huyendo de una guerra. Pero el gobierno de y porque reconocerlo hubiese significado aceptar su responsabilidad en lo que estaba pasando en esas guerras. Entonces decidieron, en vez de reconocer el estatus de refugiado, decidieron crear este estatus temporal, Temporary Protected Status, y la comunidad salvadoreña lo acogió. Quiero decirles de que esos salvadoreños ya están grandes, ¿verdad? Y hemos y es para que también sea útil para otras generaciones. The last 2 months have been very difficult, especially for the people from Los Angeles. We've seen so much cruelty and suffering. We've seen men in masks with weapons of war for conventional warfare. Men coming into neighborhoods with armored vehicles, like if they were going to war. That's what we've seen in LA. We've seen the abduction of workers, the most humble people that you can think of, especially indigenous people from El Salvador and Central America. That's what we're seeing in Los Angeles. Grandmothers, grandfathers, sons, daughters being taken away from their families. That's the suffering that we see. And to the point that what Martha was making earlier, that we're not alone, I feel very hopeful because a lot of people who have never done any activism, these are not organizers, some of them are librarians, teachers, soccer moms. These are people that know that what's happening outside in the streets is unfair, that it's unjust, and they pull their phone and they film the cruelty to show the country its ugly side. And because of that, public opinion about immigrants is shifting in this country. And we owe it to those folks who every day go out there, who are part of the rapid response networks all over, not just in LA, but all over the country. We owe it to them. That means that que no estamos solos, that we are not alone. So and that brings, I think it's very hopeful. Hopeful not just for the undocumented people, but also for those who have documents. TPS holders have been abducted in Los Angeles. And I do want to share this story, Jose, if you allow me. This TPS holder, Salvador, was abducted from a Home Depot. He's not a day laborer. He was actually going to shop at Home Depot. He was taken into custody by this masked man. And on the way to the processing center, there were two white officers, and there was one Latino officer. He turns to the Latino officer and he tells him, "Aren't you ashamed of what you are doing? You're destroying families. You're harming people." And the man looked down and he responded, "Well, don't you have a job too?" And Salvador's response was, "Yes, I have a job, but mine is dignifying. Mine builds community. Mine doesn't harm anybody." And essentially, and Salvador shared this story with me with so much pride. With so much pride. Because he stood up, he told the man the truth. And essentially what he was telling him, you think that you're dehumanizing me, but no, you're dehumanizing yourself. That's what Salvador told him. So that the TPS struggle is to humanize the immigrant story. And we've done so many things together. We've gotten older together, right? Some of us have lost our hair. Younger? Okay, let's do that, let's say that. But I want to share how TPS started, because it's important, especially for our brothers and sisters from Nepal. Because I think that Nicaraguans and the Hondurans, I've shared this story before. The TPS, it was a handful of Salvadorians who were fleeing a civil war that was being funded by the United States in the late 80s and the early 90s. And they fled El Salvador by the millions. And they were doing caravans from all over the country to Washington, D.C. to tell the U.S. government, we are refugees of war. And the government said, no, you are not. And the reason why they were saying, no, you're not, is because if they had said yes, then they would assume complicity because they were funding that war. So instead of granting political asylum, refugee status to those Salvadorans, they created the Temporary Protected Status Program. And the Salvadoran community accepted the program. And little did they know that 35 years later, Ukrainians will be benefiting from it. Afghans will be benefiting from it. Syrians, people from Sudan, from all over the world. And that is how change takes place. And that is the most beautiful thing, is when humble people make changes for everybody. That is real social change. Those Salvadorans are still with us. And now they are U.S. citizens. They're the inherent part of this country, just like the community you see here. So this generation of TPS holders, we have the responsibility to protect TPS for the future generation of immigrants that come to this country, who are fleeing not from dictatorships, who are fleeing from authoritarian governments, who are fleeing because their places have been have had terrible natural disasters, and they're facing extraordinary circumstances. Some people may say, hey, Nepal is doing well. Well, what does it tell you when in the last 9 years they have had 5 presidents? What does that tell you about the stability of democracy in Nepal? And let's not talk about Nicaragua, an authoritarian government. And Honduras hasn't even recovered from Hurricane Mitch. So TPS was essential in the early 90s and continues to be, was essential when the hurricanes took place and continues to be essential now, and we have to protect it. And there's no better community to fight, to protect TPS, than the TPS community itself. Que viva la comunidad tepeciana, que viva Nicaragua, que viva Nepal, que viva nuestros hermanos y hermanas de Honduras, y que viva la Alianza Nacional TPS.
Thank you, Pablo. Very energetic words. And there is no more motivation to continue this organizing effort to achieve permanent residence and to defend TPS right now, than to see the TPS recipients coming forward and taking steps and say, I am afraid about what's going to happen, but I will put my name on it in a lawsuit, because we need to protect people and everyone needs to hear our stories. So for that, I really want everyone to welcome Sandia Lama from Nepal, who will be talking about her story and also about being a plaintiff in this case.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. Hola. Namaste. My name is Sandia Lama. I'm a TPS holder from Nepal and a plaintiff in NTPSA versus NON. Get closer. Okay. I have lived in the United States since 2008, and I'm a single mom currently residing in Fairfax, Virginia, with my 3 U.S. citizen children. I first came to the U.S. to pursue my education when Nepal was designated for TPS in 2015.
It's got to get close, baby.
Okay.
They want to hear you. Everyone.
Following the devastating earthquake, I was deeply grateful my country was in crisis, and returning would not have been safe. TPS allowed me to work, support my family, and live here without fear. Now, nearly 20 years later, this country is my home. Yes. Home. I am the sole caregiver of my 3 young kids, and this is the only country they know. My daughter, who has serious medical needs and food allergies, is already struggling with anxiety over what might happen. She constantly asked me, can I eat this? Is it safe for me? The fear of not having access to the food and medical care she needs weighs on her every day. She wonders how she could possibly cope if she were forced to live in Nepal, where life-saving resources for children like her are scarce. Losing TPS would be devastating for me and for my family. Without it, I would lose the right to live and work in the US. Though my children are American citizens, I could not leave them behind. At the same time, I cannot imagine uprooting them and taking them to a country they have never known. They would lose access to their schools, healthcare, friends, and community, and the future they deserve in their own country. I have not come in terms with that terrifying possibility, though it could become reality within days if the court does not act. I traveled here from Virginia for today's hearing because I feel compelled to speak up, not just for myself or the Nepali community, but for all TPS holders. I want to be a voice for those who are afraid to speak out in the critical moment. I'm not standing here for my children and for every parent who risk being separated from their children if TPS ends. Terminating TPS for Nepal and other nations would tear countless families apart. That is not acceptable. This is not justice. Keep families whole, keep communities strong. Hamro lagi, hami nahi. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandia. If many of us were to have the courage of Sandia, many of us will be U.S. citizens by this time. But sometimes we need people to step up forward and lead us in this fight. Another person, and actually is from here, was born in Honduras, but grew up in this region and has been giving all his contribution to the city of San Francisco. Let's welcome also Johnny Silva, another plaintiff from Honduras. Vamos a darle la bienvenida a Johnny desde Honduras.
Hi, everybody. Listo? Okay. A little higher, probably.
Okay, give it to us, brother.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Johnny Silva. I am a TPS holder. I was born in Honduras, but I consider myself a Bay Area native. Having lived in the U.S. for nearly 30 years since I was a toddler, I'm also a proud father to an American citizen. TPS has been a crucial protection for me. It has allowed me to pursue my dreams of becoming a nursing assistant and one day a registered nurse. As a hospital nursing assistant, I work every day to provide people with quality care. From the deepest part of who I am, I want to help people. I am someone who is aspiring to reach my goals thanks to the sacrifices that my parents made by bringing me to this country. All I want to be able to do is repay their sacrifices, fulfill my dreams of becoming an RN to help others and take care of my child. TPS has allowed me to be an American without being a full-fledged citizen. It has allowed me to work, to drive, to have social security number, to contribute to this country. It is the only thing that's allowing me to be in this country legally. Losing TPS would be devastating. Without TPS, I would lose my status. I wouldn't be able to support my child or reach my goals of becoming an RN. It would put my entire life on hold. If I lost TPS, all the work I've accomplished would go down the drain. Worse, losing my status would force me to return to a country I don't know and haven't been in over 25 years. Worst of all, it would separate me from my family. I'm here today because I refuse to accept that. I don't want to give up. I want to finish my schooling, be here for my child, and continue giving back to my family and my community. I joined this lawsuit because I feel it in my heart that I have to speak up for people and for others like me. The government's decision to terminate TPS for Hondurans and others, many other countries, doesn't just hurt TPS holders, it hurts our families, our friends, and our communities. I'm going to say this in Spanish now, lo voy a decir en español ahora. Buenas tardes a todos, yo me llamo Johnny Silva. Soy beneficiario del TPS. Yo nací en Honduras, pero yo me considero originario de la área de la Bahía, donde he vivido casi 30 años desde que era pequeño. También soy el orgulloso padre de un maravilloso niño de 8 años. El TPS ha sido una protección crucial para mí. Me ha permitido alcanzar mi sueño de convertirme en un asistente de enfermeros y un día un enfermero registrado. Como asistente de enfermero en un hospital, trabajo a diario para brindar atención de calidad a quienes lo necesitan. Desde lo más profundo de mi ser, quiero ayudar a la gente. Soy una persona que aspira a alcanzar sus metas gracias a los sacrificios que hicieron mis padres de traerme a este país. Solo quiero poder corresponderles, cumplir mi sueño de ser enfermero para ayudar a los demás y cuidar de mi hijo. El TPS me ha permitido ser estadounidense sin ser ciudadano. Me ha permitido trabajar, conducir, tener un número de seguro social y contribuir a este país. Es lo único que me permite estar legalmente en este país. Perder el TPS sería devastador. Sin él, perdería mi estatus migratorio, no podría mantener a mi hijo ni alcanzar mi meta de convertirme en enfermero registrado. Pondría mi vida en pausa. Si perdiera el TPS, todo el esfuerzo que he logrado se irá a la garete. Peor aún, perder mi estatus me obligaría a regresar a un país que no conozco y al que no he ido de más de 25 años. Y lo peor de todo, me separaría de mi hijo. Estoy aquí hoy porque me niego y aceptar. No quiero rendirme, quiero terminar mis estudios, estar aquí para mi hijo y mi familia y seguir apoyando a mi comunidad. Yo me uní a esta demanda porque sentí en lo fondo de mi corazón que debía defenderme y defender a otros como yo. La decisión del gobierno de cancelar el TPS para Honduras y tantos otros países no solo perjudica a los beneficiarios del TPS, perjudica a nuestra familia, amigos y comunidad. Muchas gracias, gracias por todo el apoyo y tenemos que continuar a pelear. We can't give up, and thank you for everything. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Johnny and Sandia, for taking the lead and putting their name as a plaintiff. So right now we're going to hear very briefly from one of the attorneys coordinating the legal work for the lawsuit. We always, as a National TPS Alliance, we always believe we have to win the legal argument and we have to win the public opinion. Both are very important. But one of the things we also always said, we have the best lawyer to protect the TPS community, to work with the TPS community. So let's welcome Amy McLean, who will share with us a little bit about what's going to happen today and introduce her legal team. Can we give it up a little more? Yeah, correct. Yeah.
What a warm welcome on a difficult but also powerful day. I'm Emmy McLean. I'm an attorney with the ACLU of Northern California, and together with the National Day Laborer Organizing Network, the UCLA Center for Law and Policy, and the Haitian Bridge Alliance. We are representing the National TPS Alliance and brave plaintiffs who have come forward. Today and every day, I am honored to represent the National TPS Alliance and these plaintiffs, near and far, who are standing up for justice, for a government that follows the rules and does not make decisions with unconstitutionally racist motivations. Dennis Molina, Johnny Silva, Maria Elena Hernandez, Sandia Lama, Teofilo Martinez, two individuals known only as SK and OC, and the thousands of other members of the National TPS Alliance, speaking out at a time when too many people in power are too afraid to do so themselves. These are the individuals who make our country work. They make our health system work, they care for our elders, they clean our public and private spaces, and they organize in our communities to make for a better country and a better future. And they have relied on TPS because it has been unsafe to return to their home countries. Most of those who are affected by the terminations that we are challenging in court today have lived in the United States with legal status, abiding by all the rules that this country has set out for them for over 25 years. And so they have built their lives here. Some have bought homes, raised children, pursued their educations and their dreams. They have done all of this in reliance on the promise and the obligations of the TPS statute. The promise that this country will honor its obligation to follow the law and provide humanitarian protection so long as it continues to be unsafe for people to return to their home countries. The government has broken its promise, violated the law. So these brave individuals are here today in federal court to say that the law still means something. And President Trump and DHS Secretary Noem are not above the law. The 35-year-old TPS statute also means something. The U.S. can be a safe haven for people whose countries are ravaged by war, natural disaster, or other crisis. DHS cannot treat our laws as discretionary, as optional. We and others across the country have been in court challenging this administration's efforts to undermine and ultimately destroy TPS. We will not allow it. We are here today to challenge this administration's latest act of cruelty and lawlessness, stripping humanitarian TPS from 60,000 people from Honduras, Nepal, and Nicaragua who have lived here for years and in most cases decades. We are asking the court to reject the government's misrepresentations. They did not follow the rules and terminate TPS because of improvements in country conditions, as they say. Instead, they were motivated by an overt and racist